first time here in Institut Lumière.
Yes, it is.
Welcome. What
Thank
are
you.
your impressions? And even for to celebrate this 50th anniversary of 2001.
Well, it's a big responsibility in a sense that it's amazing that this movie still plays today, and I never thought that was unimaginable that 50 years later I'd be talking about it. So it's quite an extraordinary anniversary of Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece.
When you worked, you had, I think, 23, 25 years?
Yeah, I was about 23 when I started with him, yes.
And finally, when the film was shown, you was 24, 25. You imagine your work with Stanley Kubrick will, during all this time, for the cinephiles. At this time, is one of the most important films in the history. Now I think it's the second best film for the directors, film directors.
Yeah.
When you did this work, you imagine this?
No, of course not. I knew that it was special. I was amazed to be working with Stanley Kubrick so closely. And so I was witnessing his transformation as a director and realizing that he was on a mission to do this spectacle. You know, that there was the 70 millimeter Cinerama giant screens. He felt an obligation or responsibility to do something that would be really epic. And so he took that very seriously, and it started changing the way he would conventionally have shot a movie, with a close-up of me, a close-up of you, a two-shot, over the shoulder, you know, all the conventional cinematic language. He started cutting that out and just going for the first-person point of view. And I watched him do that change, and that was really fascinating to me. And I had no idea that it was going to result in this movie the way it is, which is huge sequences where there's no drama, there's no dialogue, there's no plot, there's no suspense. It's just a big trip.
the idea of the trip inside of Monolith, it's yours?
Yeah, a lot of it is. Yeah, the Stargate is my responsibility. So that was.
You were free absolutely to imagine all technically and to try to do.
Well, I was working with many other people, but I was working with some of the best. You know, Jeffrey Unsworth was a fabulous cinematographer, and the set construction. I mean, everything on the movie was absolutely the best there is. But I was young, and I had never made movies before, and so I had no way of doing things. I had no habits about it, and so Kubrick told me, he said, if everyone's doing something one way, we should do it another way. We want everything to be different from conventional movies. And I said, okay, we should do that. That sounds fine. And so it was my job to be inventive, to invent something that had not been seen or photographed or experienced. And that became kind of my trademark myself, because I realized that having the freedom to experiment is very important.